Hey man, say man, it's that time to pick up where we left off last week with chapter 205. And we, like I said, picking up where we left off, Percival is in Lancelot's arm, noting how he came for them, with Lancelot telling him to tag out. It's time for a real stepper to come in and handle this shit. Tristan, still technically, bisected and shit, is just laughing on the ground like, bro, fix yourself, get back up, get up! With Gawain out down there as well, talking about some.
It's about damn time.
And we go on to see the double colored spread for Lancelot Knuckleball has done for us. And this nigga is Gucci down to his toes. Y'all see the suit, bro? I guarantee you that's probably a Prada single-breasted woolen mohair suit, bro. Yes, I know my shit. And he got the blick at his side. The blick is dripped out as well, with the deer on with the white deer on the scabbard too, because that's the name of the katana translated, with the accented purple. Oh man. And then he got the shotty at his side as well on his other. Yeah, no, this is a crazy flick, man. There is something about flicks like this where a character is sat in a throne or a seat of some kind, and his shawty is just at his side like this. Now I can't lie, Guinevere, that little nyash exposure, you might have to zip that up. You're a bit too young for that. But I can't lie, the orange is complimentary of his hair as well. But outside of that, yeah, no, this is genuinely a fire flick, and sitting on a bunch of flowers as well, because this nigga is half fairy. Yeah, no, this is one of those phenomenal flicks. Like, so now let's get to it. We revealed that it's Lancelot. Look at how nonchalant this nigga looks. Like, the only thing about him that really changed appearance wise is that he got taller and he got a new fit. Let me go back to the fit real quick. I know, but I forgot to mention that button-up shirt. That shit is probably like at least 200-500 pounds. This is an expensive looking fit, man. Oh my god! And they just got trainers on the bottom of them. I'm weak. Lancelot, like, so to Percival. So you got revived and you didn't tell me what's up with that. With Percival stating that he's sorry, and Lancelot just, obviously he was joking. He just wants Percival to sit tight and takes out the sword. I forgot the actual name of the sword. That's why I'm only calling it the sword, the katana even. My fault. And Lancelot proclaims that from here on out, I got it. And we see Percival's arm just to the side, and Tristan. Oh. I shouldn't be laughing. It's really not that funny, but just seeing Tristan split as he is right there is, I can't help it. And honestly, at this rate, no, because one thing I didn't give Tristan credit for, because I was about to say that this nigga is low-key potential man of the 4 Knights, but let me give him some credit. After he got hit by the assault charge that came from Pelegard, this nigga was still able to get up and like try to talk to Percival, and this guy's like said his flesh and bones were getting crushed. He recovered and was still able to stand up afterwards. Like, I can't lie, Tristan, your durability, I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game. Gareth is just like, okay, so who the hell is this nigga, bro? And don't you just calls him the strongest man there is, with Chaos Ironside recognizing Lancelot, with Beltripe stating that he's the Knight of War, and Chaos Pelegard speaking backwards still, talking about the killer of so many of their own fellow Hollow Knights. And yeah, like we all theorized that this nigga was the so-called God of War, and he's just unaffected by the glaze, because he looks like he's had enough. He looks like he wants them dead right now. Lancelot simply stating that he has no idea what was going on, but gets a good hang of the fact that Chaos took over all of the 4 evils. And honestly, this is a tough flick on both party sides, because look at how each of the 4 evils are stood up differently. Look at that nigga Ironside up top on that small stone, just aura farming. I mean, they're all aura farming. Everyone in this panel is aura farming right now, so I can't even say that. Pelegard, oh man, my little mini P.E.K.K.A turned into like he literally turned into like a dragon centipede, bro. And Beltripe, oh man, my nonchalant king. Look at just walking forward with the sword arm and everything. And Waraldine is over there just chilling with her elongated arms. And Lancelot just walking up to this with no feel whatsoever. And we even see on the ground next to him was the slash line that Beltripe made when he did that little execution move. With Gawain wondering if he'd be able to take them on like solo. Percival also stating that like, yeah, each one of they are genuinely a threat to society. And then Lancelot is just like, okay, yeah, like these niggas are different, yeah, but y'all niggas ain't really giving yourselves that much credit either. And states that in terms of latent potential, all of the rest of the knights are on top there with the 4 evils. Honest, I agree. I think most of us reading this would agree with that, because like I said earlier, Tristan's endurance, like this nigga, like he's breathing and shit heavy, but that nigga is still alive. He ain't really, in a danger of losing his life. And we saw the kind of performance Percival did on Waraldane when he came back to life, and it honestly is just like Lancelot says, they don't give themselves enough credit. It just might be a mental thing, really. And so basically I went over to get a snack real quick. I come back, and why on earth is Waraldane opening up with Ultimate High Priestess once again? And we see just all the ice coming at him. He just points the katana forward, and it just stopped the wave of ice, with Lancelot analyzing the match, saying that, yeah, this is some real crazy magic, but like talking to each of the knights as he's gonna be doing, I'm assuming he's gonna be talking to the knights, talking about how they could have handled this, with Lancelot telling Tristan that full counter could have just like, really done something with this. And he's just like, between that and like the royal demon clan blood, like there's no way he wouldn't have been able to handle Waraldane's like magic at least. And then we come up to see Pelagard coming from the goddamn top row. Watch out, to do the collapsed chariot once more, with Gawain screaming that Anfuin's gonna be wiped off the face of the map and warns everyone to get back. As he comes down, Lancelot just nonchalantly, he stops the blow fully, shocking Gawain and Percival, with Lancelot analyzing that while it does have enough force to level the place if it hits, Percival could have taken it, since he's a life spirit and has basically infinite regeneration. He could have handled it. And then Chaos Ironside goes for a rioting Hierophant, which worries Percival because he doesn't want to crash out, but all of a sudden the magic is sapping away from him. Lancelot scratching his ear, wondering what on earth this spell is. Well, with just the spell just being spun on his, like, what in the Toon Force is going on? What in the Gear 5 even is this? With Gawain wondering how he's able to wrangle a forbidden spell like that. With Lancelot berating her back, talking about something, you could have at least held Ironside down if you focused on him. That even with brute force, she would have been able to do that. With Beltripe coming forward now, talking about how the eternal kingdom shall never fall. This might just be the code this just might be among the dialogue options that Chaos instilled into them. And Lancelot is just staring down Beltripe, and just like, this the tough nigga that's been about, huh? And states that, yeah, he would have been tough for all of them, since his magic is revealed to be called Division, and that it's a power that will rip through any matter, even empty space. So yeah, his magic is basically just spatial slashing. And yay, we finally got it, the Beltripe magic reveal. Let's go. And just calling it Division, yeah, I can't lie, that's tough. It's basically what Ironside can do with the wind spirits cutting, with the wind spirits cutting abilities, but just on a much more rudimentary level. Did I use rudimentary in the right context? And Beltripe goes for a slash of attacks with the Execution of Justice again, making just basically copying Sukuna at this point with his domain expansion. As we see it, we see literally any straggling stones or rocks around him are getting cut as he's walking forward, creating this completely smooth surface of a domain. And this nigga just starts yapping, talking about some, you defile our eternal sanctuary, one free of all pain and sadness, it must never be allowed to, and he gets interrupted. And apparently the attack is hitting Lancelot, with everyone's like, yeah, no, it's clipped, that's it, GG's, what's the next mission? And then we see give a nigga a katana, he'll start acting different, because Lancelot does this hand moves, and Nakaba drew it one at a time slowly to just shut. Yeah, nah, this nigga Lancelot different, bro. And he starts counter monologuing, is what I'm calling it, saying that pain exists, and so people people can grit their teeth and stand up to it. Sadness exists, and so we hold hands and keep moving forward. Like, this nigga's talking like Optimus Prime right now. What's going on? No, let me not give him that prestigious level saying Optimus Prime. Let me say Captain America. Yeah, I'm talking about some. That's how it works, right? And he stands up and cuts through he cuts slashes, I guess. Like, he just disassembled that entire attack with just a few flicks of his wrists, rediverting them, it seems, from the context that everyone's giving us, with Lancelot saying that the slashes are all dancing around Lancelot instead, with Gawain expanding, saying that just like all the other attacks from the four evils, and that they've been thrown into a spiral like a muddy river, ending up at the tip of his blade. And then the four evils, realizing, oh shit, this nigga's actually like that, they try to hit the James Harden, man, straight backstep, with Lancelot telling them, not in my house, and then hits this slash move across, calling it the Moon of 18. I'm not sure if that's because, you know, he's 18 years old. And we see everyone's reaction. This nigga Tristan smiled. Nigga, put yourself back together. But yeah, Lancelot basically speed blitzed them, and look at that face. He was completely locked in for that attack, and mind you, he's been wielding the katana with just one hand this entire time. And we see the four evils are knocked out, are like they got clipped like insanely, and we see all of this gunk coming out of them as well, which I'm assuming is the power of chaos, and they all hit the ground pretty hard, with Lancelot looking back at them, stating that he is far from done with them. And that is the end of this chapter. And yeah, Lancelot may just be Sin's level. I'm assuming he's also, across the 2 years, has done his own training. I would have liked, obviously, his general, like, I asked this nigga last video to give us a performance, give us a show. This nigga gave us a show, bro. He heard me, bro. Yeah, the reveal of Division being the name of Beltripe's ability and how it works was, you know, I'm pretty happy with that as well. And obviously, since it'd been alluded to how it worked, just being able to cut through anything matter related and empty space. Another thing I liked is that Lancelot pointed out that there was ways that this was indeed a mismatch for the rest of the knights, but not because of the reasons we may have initially thought it was a mismatch. He pointed out all of the four evil strengths, how the knight's own toolkits could have been perfect counters, literally, in Tristan's case, for most of these attacks. It's just a case of the knights themselves don't have enough confidence and give themselves enough credit in their own strength. Because as Tristan stated, full counter really could have gotten White Priest. I don't know how I didn't think about that shit. And yeah, it was just a mismatch for the wrong reason. They had the wrong opponents. Because really, thinking about it, Gawain probably thought that, oh, I'm the spellcaster, I gotta go up against the spellcaster myself. It would have made more sense for Percival to try and take on Pelagard and take on the collapsed chariot, because not only just because of what Lancelot said, but because of his relationship with Pelagard, it would have made more sense. And with Full Circular as well at his side, which would have boosted his power back into him, I'm not even sure if Percival would have broken his bone. Now that we're looking at it this way, I don't think Percival would have had a single bone broken if he went to block Collapsed Chariot instead of Tristan. I think Full Circular would have held because it's been forged by Dubs. Percival, honestly, I don't think Percival would have broken a single bone if he had taken on Collapsed Chariot. Tristan could have full countered Ultimate Priest, and that would have been it for World Dane. Well, not entirely, but it would have left her out for enough of a time so that Tristan possibly could help one of the other knights take on one of the other evils. And I think for Tristan, it's a case of he doesn't want to use full counter off. I don't think he genuinely likes using full counter as a clutch, because it reminds him of his dad, and he's trying to be something. Despite being a race which is more than both demon and goddess, he tries to separate himself from that as much as he can. That's why he was so reluctant to use his demon powers. He's been using it more now that we've seen, yes, and since the demon king, the demon realm arc, sorry, why am I getting my words mixed up? Genuinely, it's a case of insecurity, and Tristan doesn't want to be compared to his dad so much, which, you know, I mean, I'd say I get it, but I really don't. But I can imagine what it's like being constantly compared to your pops all the time, and then you using his like signature method as well to dealing with magic types. It's like, he doesn't want to. I think it's a case of Tristan doesn't want to feel like a carbon copy of Meliodas, just with a bit of, you know, light magic sprinkled in. I think he just wanted to. I think that's one of the reasons he doesn't use full counter that often, because I feel like there have been other instances in the series where he could have used full counter in certain scenarios, not just against the Testament Devil. But I digress. And when Lancelot stated that Gawain could have just, you know, raw dogged it and just pushed back on Ironside and held him, and maybe even beat him, she does have the brute force to do so. We've seen what Tyrant style can do. We've seen the beating it put on Balin, and I'm convinced that the only reason Balin is still, you know, standing was because of his magic, invincible. If it wasn't for that, any other nigga is crumbling. I think any nigga is crumbling under like 180% Tyrant style blows. So yeah, I believe Lancelot made a great deduction, and it reminds us just how critical of a thinker Lancelot is, and that, yeah, it is just a mental issue for the knights. They got mental limits that they need to overcome so that they can actually properly be as strong as they need to be for the people they want to protect. And honestly, can I be so for real? I'm not putting Lancelot out of that equation as well. I think Lancelot has just as much mental issues, but not in the way you would think, in terms of he doesn't believe in his ability at all. It's just a case of Lancelot, he's too grown, man. Even back when we seen him, this nigga had been acting like, even in the, I'm not sure how many of y'all read the little plus chapter with Lancelot when him and Jericho got isekai'd at the end of it. But ever since then, ever since he came back from Tristan's 10th birthday party, he'd been acting more grown up. I think even Elaine stated it in that chapter. Like, this nigga, he keeps trying to bring himself up to be more adult-like in order to be respected. And even from his outfit, I'd say, he's 18, I get it, he's an adult and shit. Even from his fit, he is wearing a very, you know, formal looking attire, when even if he's 18, you'd think he'd wear something a bit more free and easier to move in. Like where did this nigga come from? Like a wedding? Don't get me wrong, the fit is tough. I how many minutes did I spend in the intro glazing this shit? But yeah, this, like, Lancelot is too grown, and it's just been a thing of, he feels like he has to take on everything himself. He has to be as mature as possible, this, that, and the third. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm just overanalyzing, or am I onto something here? Am I not? Lancelot himself being the counter to Bell Tribe is also pretty nice as well. I think a lot of us expected it initially to be Gawain taking on Bell Tribe, being this ideal scenario, since, you know, we know in Arthurian legend there is tales of Gawain and the Green Knight. Escanor versus Galland was also based off of, but now Nakba has had a chance to do it again with Gawain here, but he just left it with the relation between them as niece and uncle, technically. If whatever's going on with Gawain's family tree, we'll find out after this arc. But yeah, in terms of what's gonna happen next, I'm just guessing Chaos is gonna try to bump them up even more. If that was Chaos that was cut out of them or coming out of them, it will probably latch into them again. Yeah, because they all took Chaos in the mouth. Pause. And we see that they're all splurting, is all coming from the mouth. So I'm guessing Lancelot will have to, you know, wipe that shit out too for it to, you know, be done, lest it re-enters them and we get the same problem all over again. There's also a chance that if he does do that next chapter, there's a chance that goddamn Arthur himself might pop in. It's unlikely, but it's not impossible. We've had Lancelot pull up now when I said it was unlikely. So I'm not ruling anything. I'm not ruling anything out anymore. But I'm not sure what Nakba is cooking here with this. But I do see a potential training arc in the future. I'd like another training arc in the future, to be honest. Next, before, you know, Lancelot's whole thing with Guinevere. The next arc is going to involve Guinevere. We can tell because she was in the colored thing. Why wouldn't she be the focus on the next arc? For what? For Nakba to just, you know, just dangle the carrot right there on the stick. Like, no, like the next arc is going to involve Guinevere, which is why it's probably why Lancelot appeared when he did right now. And after this performance, it might just be a thing of, you know, maybe they go see the druids and they go through the training that everyone went through with the druids to, you know, get a better handle of their mental and shit and things of that nature. Obviously, the chance to meet Dubs will be a thing as well, since, you know, we know he's back on the ship. So after this whole thing's done, weapons for Lancelot's been meaning to meet the nigga as well. And since we know that his katana was originally made for Nanashi, it's not while he's using it extremely well, as we've seen, he just dismantled all of the 4 evils with just one hand of the katana. It's genuinely a case of like he's Lancelot. We've seen in the premonition that this nigga has a spear, so, and he's had a spear this whole time. So yes, he'll probably still want his own weapon despite having the katana. And Tristan, he just we seen what happened to Maya, to Esther Rosa and the demon handle, bro. And yeah, this was a great chapter. Amazing pull up from Lancelot. He dismantled them in ways I didn't think he would. And it seems we learned something new about his magic as well. Because we know his magic also takes in other energies as well. And it seems across the 2 years that Lancelot's own magic has gotten to a point where he doesn't have to bring it out in that large aura when he fought Nanash with it, to utilize its ability of absorbing or leading other people's magic into his own to then throw back at them. So yeah, it seems Lancelot's improved a lot over the 2 years, gotten used to the katana, had it adjusted to his own fighting style. His magic usage has been a lot better. His quick analysis of the situation, how the 4 evils have grown, and the state of the knights in general. It really makes you think if his eyes are just special in a way in regards to magic, and not just reading people's hearts, but also the nature of their magic force as well. Kind of similar to how Sukuna in JJK can recognize quickly both Sukuna and Gojo can recognize a person's technique through how they utilize their cursed energy. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on this chapter. Lancelot, you showed out. Tristan, please put yourself back together. I'm kind of sick of laughing in my head whenever I'm seeing you in the back of these panels, and I hope to the nights that the two, Gawain, Percival, and Tristan, y'all really just need to believe in yourselves a little bit more. Lancelot has no doubt that they could have taken these guys on. It would have been tough, but they could have handled it, as he said. And yeah, we'll see what's gonna go on in next week's chapter 206, and I'll see you guys for that. Take care.